just over 2 weeks until the federal election, and there's been a lot of talk about light rail. Will a Liberal government help Colin Barnett fund light rail?
A federal coalition believes that the federal government should be responsible for major infrastructure in roads and rail, but what we propose to do is have an 80-20 funding split with state governments. Labor is trying to force the states into a 50-50 split, so state governments will have more money under our funding proposal so that they can spend that on light rail. So states run light rail, states own the land, employ the workers, and we think that it's a much clearer line of responsibility if we have an 80-20 split so that the states are in a better position to own and fund light rail.
And there's been a lot of debate about same-sex marriage. What's your view on that?
I support the Coalition's position that there be no change to the Marriage Act. That's the promise we took to the last election, and that's the promise we'll take to this election. If there is to be a change to that after the election, then it will go through the usual party room processes, and I would look at the competing arguments at that time.
And there's obviously the National Broadband Network. That's been introduced in the new Perry Lakes development. What suburbs in your electorate could benefit if a Liberal government got in?
Well, this is the whole point. Labor's National Broadband Network will not roll out across Curtin, and across Australia it won't be finished for another 20 years, and it will cost something like $90 billion of taxpayers' money. Under the Coalition, broadband will be rolled out much more quickly. By 2016, people will have a minimum of 25 megabits across Australia, and in many places much more than that. It will be much cheaper, probably a third of the cost, and we'll have private sector involvement, and we won't be putting all our eggs in one technology basket. There'll be a range of technologies, including wireless and satellite and fibre to the node.
And so is there particular suburbs that you'd be looking at first in the Curtin electorate?
I want all of Curtin to receive broadband under a coalition government, and that's what we plan to do.
Yeah. And it's obviously a hectic time for you. How do you strike a work-life balance during an election campaign?
There's no such thing as a work-life balance in an election campaign. It's 33 days of non-stop activity. I find campaigning a great deal of fun, meeting a lot of people, talking to constituents and spending time out and about in the electorate. But that's what I do all year round, and so campaigning is just a high activity time, and on the 7th of September the people get to make their choice.
So your regular runs are out the window then?
They haven't been as regular, and I like to try and keep a bit of exercise in every day, but during an election campaign that does go to the bottom of the priority list.
And can we expect Tony Abbott in Perth before September 7?
Well, he's been here already. He was here last week, and I'm hoping that he'll be able to get back again, but there are significant demands on his time. He is a regular visit to Western Australia, and we often team up together in the West. We attended a function here last week, and hopefully he'll be able to get here again, but if not, I'll fly the flag for the Coalition here in Western Australia.
Thanks for your time, Julie.
It's been my